Hi, everyone. Welcome to another amazing topic of conversation. First, I want to thank my sponsors, the Health Channel, and please sign up for their newsletter so you can get all the health updates. And for the cooking lover in you, go to finkelmans.com. From the Power of the Heels, we're back to in-person monthly networking at the AC Hotel in Aventura. So we're going live, re-energized, reimagined, and refocused. And our next event is November 10th. So hopefully you can join us. So today, there is a very difficult topic of conversation, and I wanted to invite someone that has been very involved in the community, not only with the Jewish Federation, not only with the Latin community, but now as a commissioner-elect of the city of Aventura. So Paul, welcome.
Thank you, Gladys. Always a pleasure to be with you and to support you in all the great work that you do, and also to call out issues when they need to be called out, and talk about all these issues that are confronting our community, our state, and our country.
One of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you is because Aventura has a population by square foot. It's the largest population of the Jew. It's the most populated city in the world after Jerusalem per square foot.
Yeah, we're the most densely populated Jewish community in the world.
Correct.
Yeah.
You said it better. I got really confused. So this is why I really wanted to talk to you, because of all this week's resurfacing, or a lot of the anti-Semitic push that has come alive, starting with the Kanye West tweet about basically killing all the Jews. And there was another video that was leaked about an interview where he said that he's not anti-Semitic because all the Africans Americans that came from Africa, all the black people that came from Africa, are actually Jewish from the 12th tribe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that was his defense.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, as we well know, unfortunately, anti-Semitism or Jew hatred has been by far the most lasting bigotry or hatred in the history of the world. It started like 700 BC and has been going on uninterrupted for a couple of millennia already, and it's always in different forms and different shapes and different people. But it's something that unfortunately has gained momentum throughout history, and unfortunately the scourge of anti-Semitism is again rearing its ugly head all over the world, and in the last place where we really expected it, here in America. So we have to be aware of it, and we have to call it out regardless of where it comes from. When it comes to Kanye West, Ye, as he's being called now, he's part of a group called the Black Hebrew Israelites, which is a organization or a group that that's associated with Louis Farrakhan, the hateful and bigoted head of the Nation of Islam, that promotes all this kind of bigotry. And unfortunately, they have millions of followers. Kanye West himself has, I think, 30 million followers on social media. So while we may say that he is for sure a little deranged mentally, he's got some issues. The problem is that when you have such a huge following, it creates a very big problem, because they think people that follow him follow every word that he says, and thinks that what he's saying is based on reality, or that we should listen to what he has to say, and it's very dangerous.
Well, when you spoke about the 30 million people that follow him, That's not even the whole world population of the Jewish community.
That's actually twice as many people as there are Jews. There was about 14.5 million Jews in the world today, which isn't even as many Jews as there were before Hitler and the Nazis started their dealing with their the question of the Jewish solution to the question of what they're going to do. So, unfortunately, nothing new and rearing its ugly head again.
But let me go back in time. You say that the last place where we think that anti-Semitism is happening, or that we didn't
Expect it.
expect it here. In February 1940, there was an attempt to take over the government with arms, with violence by the Silver Shirts. And his leader named the group Silver Shirts based on Hitler's brown shirts and the SS. And he was following Hitler's rhetoric. When he was caught, and in the trial, they asked him that if he had succeeded in taking over the government, would he had put in place Hitler's policies? And his answer was yes. So it did happen in the US. It's happening right now. The Proud Boys are on trial. They are a proven anti-Semitic group. And my question is, how do we defend ourselves?
Well, it's really difficult to do so, but I think that as a Jewish community and people of goodwill of all faiths and all backgrounds have to understand that, as we were saying, Gladys, that Jew hatred is as old as time itself. As long as there's been a Jew around, there's been Jew hatred, and that it has to be called out loudly and strongly and condemned in no uncertain terms by all people of good faith, because what starts with the Jews, and it's something that we've learned over history, that what starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews. We are always the tip of the iceberg. We are the ones that they come after first. But like Hitler did, he went after Jews and he went after gypsies, he went after Poles, he went after communists. And if you don't stand up for the Jews, then you're inviting these hateful groups to come after your groups next, your community next. That's why it's so important that we, all righteous people, stand up and condemn this kind of activity. Whether it's the Proud Boys, the skinheads, the neo-Nazis on the right, and all those sympathizers, people like Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam, and Kanye West, or even some of the statements even by former President Trump that I find very objectionable on the right. But we have to be equally forceful and in condemning anti-Semitic statements and acts and attacks that come from the left. Unfortunately, we're seeing that in record amounts too, whether it's on college campuses, where there's all kinds of anti-Semitic problems going on, from the professors and students at universities that stand with Students for Justice in Palestine, or any of these other pro-Palestinian groups that are actually Israel haters and Jew haters that don't want to give Jewish students an opportunity to stand up for themselves and shut them out and cancel them or attack them. The whole BDS movement, the boycott, divestment, and sanction movement that's going around, in college campuses, and even unfortunately in Congress now, is another form of Jew hatred. We've seen it not only on college campuses, but like I said, in Congress, we have Congress people on the far left that support the BDS movement and call Israel an apartheid state, and do all kinds of state all kinds of Jewish tropes about, like Elon Omar did a few years ago, like Tlaib has, and how AOC has as well. So unfortunately, we get it from the far right, we get it from the far left, and we get it also from Muslim extremists, Islamists that want to spread their vile hatred. And when people say that it's really they don't hate Jewish people, they just don't like the state of Israel, or they don't like Zionists. It's really one of the same. A rose is just as sweet by any other name, and people should not be fooled by there's this distinction without a difference, in other words.
But so what do we do? How do we defend ourselves? For example, when George Floyd was murdered, there was an uproar in the Black community, manifestations. I know they turned violent. We are not that type. We do not go to the streets and protest.
No, that's correct.
We stay quiet. So what do we do?
No, what we have to do is organize as communities. We have organizations. We have to have, one of the reasons I decided to run for commissioner and following in your big footsteps as you were also commissioner is, as Tip O'Neill used to say, the former Speaker of the House, may he rest in peace, used to say all politics is local. So it has to start at the grassroots level. We have to have our communities, whether it's in city halls, in different municipalities and cities and towns, whether it's in faith-based organizations, in churches and mosques and synagogues, we have to get the message out there to the people that there is a difference between right and wrong. And certain things, unfortunately, we live in a very highly polarized community and country right now. And certain things we have to tell people, certain things, there's not an issue of left versus right, but they're simply right versus wrong. And this is one of those things. Hatred of all sorts is wrong, whether it's against race, whether it's against a religion, whether it's against a gender, whether it's against any kind of people. So I think we just have to do a better job in reaching out in our communities, to faith-based communities, to elected officials, and in our organizations, our Jewish organizations and other organizations where we have people of goodwill, because I firmly believe that American people in general are good-hearted, decent people that want to do the right thing and don't have that kind of hatred in their hearts. So we just have to do a better job educating people and reaching out to people to get them to understand why calling out all this anti-Semitism is also in their best interest, not only in helping their brothers and sisters in the community, but also helping themselves in the long run. Because like we said, what starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews.
But Paul, words matter from either side.
Yes.
Like what Kanye West said, what President Trump said, and what can we say to counteract everything? Our local officials, I have never heard, and I have never heard a backlash on what's going on.
Yeah, I think you're very right, whether it's Kanye West or President Trump, or it's AOC or Tlaib or Omar or Farrakhan, or many of these college professors or Islamist leaders, or in Iran, where you have a country, the leadership of a whole country saying that they want to they want to annihilate Israel and kill every Jew in the world. I mean, the response has to be to call them out, like I said, loudly and forcefully, and people of goodwill have to do that. Now, what I've also said is that the most effective way to do it is, if it's coming from the right, it has to be people on the right. In other words, if you're a conservative or a Republican, it's much more incumbent upon you. You have an extra responsibility to call it out when it comes from your side. Conversely, if the anti-Semitism, whether it's vandalism or it's attacks or it's any form of anti-Semitism that comes from the left, it has to be called out by good people on the left, because if for example, a Republican condemns a Democrat or a liberal, it does it's just a food fight. It has to come from within. It has to come from principled people that understand that certain things are not political, that certain things are beyond left versus right. As I said, they're right versus wrong. So, if I'm on the right,
I haven't heard anything from the Republican side condemning anything.
I've heard many conservatives and Republicans say that what and I've personally said, because I tend to be tend to be center right, and I've condemned all these things, and I know many of my friends and many people have also done so, and I've heard some elected officials do so as well. But rather than point a finger and say, you haven't done this and you haven't done that, I think all of us have to work. We have to work hard to make people understand that this is an issue that confronts the whole community and the whole country, and that we have a big responsibility to educate people and to make people aware of this problem and call it out. I have seen. I think there should be more pushback for sure. And I'm, as much influence as I have, as I can have, I'm trying to exert that to educate and inform people about it. So I think that all of us that have any kind of influence in the community, in the country, need to do that as well. And I think you'll see more of it as time goes on. But there's no doubt, Gladys, that that we need to be more vociferous in calling out this patent bigotry.
I hope that you're right, and we just need to do that because there's a lot of people that are really scared, especially the younger community that follow. Kanye West is a celebrity.
Yes.
He's a rapper.
Yeah.
He's the next generation. He's not
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So I'll give you another example. I think that has to be condemned vociferously. But you also have, for example, Mohammed Hadid, who is a Palestinian Jordanian, father of Gigi and Bella Hadid and Anwar Hadid. They have even more followers, I think, than Kanye West. But they say that Zionism. He compares Zionist Jews to Hitler. Okay, that's coming from the left and from Islamists that call Jews and what Israel does, comparing it to Nazism and Hitler. So I hope these are things that have been coming out regularly, but I think there has to be more of a concerted effort from organizations like the ADL, like AJC, from evangelical Christian groups, but people of all faiths and backgrounds have to get on the same page and say, enough is enough. This cannot be, and I don't care if you're black or white or Asian or gay or whatever. I mean, this is crazy. When you look at Israel, for example, as imperfect as it is, and I'll be the first to say so. No country, like no organization and no person is perfect. But as Professor Dershowitz says, it's okay to point a finger at Israel and to criticize Israel or its government. But what's not fair is to apply a double standard. In other words, compared to who is Israel terrible or bad? Israel, for all its faults, gives the right to vote and every right that the Jewish citizens have to its Arab citizens, which comprise 21% of its community. And we have in Israel, in Tel Aviv, they have one of the largest gay pride parades in the world. So as I always say, the best way to judge any country and any organization, it's how it treats its minorities. And Israel has a much better record as far as that's concerned, how it treats women, how it treats gays, how it treats Arabs and Druze and Christians in their country than any country surrounding it. And Israel is just as diverse as the United States, as you know. I mean, we have black, we have white, we have people from all over the world, and we try to be. Israel tries to be like the United States because it's very diverse. It is imperfect, but it strives mightily like the United States to always become better and to become more equitable and fairer place.
And respect.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important. Well, thank you so much. I hope that this gets out and we can do something, like you said, call it out, because literally words matter.
No question about it. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, Gladys. And I know as a leader in our community, you and I will always work together, regardless of how we think politically. That's not the point. The point is we need to really do something to not only call out Semitism. I would say that our country needs to start learning to work together, to start learning to talk to each other instead of yelling past each other, because this polarization is only hurting our young people. As you were saying, that's what I'm concerned about, future generations. We have to make our country a more caring and more inclusive and more.
The example to follow.
Exactly. So we got to start working closer together and calling out hatred, regardless who it comes from and who it's directed to. So I look forward to working with you and all people of good faith to do that.
Thank you. And to everyone, thank you so much. Until next week, and above all, stay safe. Have a wonderful day.